working in an anime girl boba tea factory. So there you go. I have you beat, my friend.
Every day we stray farther from God.
Yo, motherfuckers.
And then we
need
eventually
Jesus.
kill him. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Y'all motherfuckers need Odin.
And then you loop all the way back around, and God just tends to have giant anime titties, and then you make a game about it.
Yeah.
Don't give Henley any more ideas.
Are we live?
Yeah,
Hello?
we're
Oh,
live.
we've been live halfway
Sweet.
through Dave's I'm more anime than you rant.
I did tell you to chill for 1 second.
I felt like
That's
the
cool.
people needed to hear that one. They needed to hear that you think you're more anime than me.
It's true. I am.
That's
I don't know.
certainly what you believe.
I don't know. I don't think
Look,
Dave's
just
a simp.
playing Fate Stay Go all day. Just playing that all day does not make you a connoisseur like me. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sure.
I add to the culture. You remove from the culture. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
You know what?
I
In
think you're
that
both
case,
idiots,
I
so it's
agree. You know what, Dave? You are the prince of anime.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
You merely adopted the anime. I was born in it. Molded by it.
I helped forge your taste. They came from me.
See, here's the thing. I stopped watching anime for a long ass time. I stopped describing things in an anime style. And then when I do stuff, people are like, oh my god, that's so anime. And I'm like, no. What I just described was literally a Silver Age comic book scene, including talking about the page paneling. There's no way that was anime. That was straight out of original Captain America. People
Everything
just
is anime.
associate me with anime, Dave, in a way that they don't with you. But you know what? I agree. You add to the scene, and I detract from it.
So what I'm saying is, Arthur, I'm so beyond.
Mhm.
I don't even get associated with the connoisseurs.
God
you
damn
know?
it, Spootnik.
That's how far ahead I am.
What the fuck is this shit that you're
Oh,
doing now? I
that's
have
awesome.
bunny ears.
You
No,
know
they
what?
brought Bunny
You know
Day to Twitch chat.
All right, look,
into
we gotta figure something out. Are we actually doing intros this week, or are we doing the skipping intros to the outros thing?
Right now, I'm just shooting the shit. Are we starting?
Yeah, well, let's do intros then.
Here's my
The
intro. I
basket's
printed a
way
giant
better.
Space Marine head. That's all I've done this week. That's it.
All
Thanks,
right,
man.
Atomics are out of the way. Spootnik, you been playing any of that Animal Crossing? I keep sending you stuff from time to time, but I never see that you go online.
Yeah.
This guy
no,
bought Mountain Blade, and now that's his whole life, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that's. So I've been playing a lot of Mountain Blade. It's pretty good. I'm enjoying that. I also. So Super Mario Maker 2 came out with another free update
Oh, yeah,
where
the
you
overworld
can make
shit.
an overworld map. So I've been working on pretty much building a
What?
whole game.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. You can make a whole overworld map. Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Oh fuck, dude, that is so good.
It's
I might
pretty
need
badass.
to get that game now.
It's
I was always
like
gonna get it.
basically this update came out and it was everything that everyone that plays that game has been wanting since it came out. They literally gave it. So
Like
there's
the idea
shit
that
from
you can
Super
play
Mario Brothers
someone's.
2. The shit from Super Mario Brothers 2, like the fucking weird one that you can put in it now.
What?
They
So they have like the egg spitting dude at the end of the level and shit like that.
I'm pretty sure he's unlockable.
Is the face that flies around and like fucking destroys you in there?
I don't know about that. I know the Angry Sun is there. That wasn't there
Oh.
before. But yeah, the overall thing is cool. You can put in like the little Toad mini games as well. They have like the one where it's like the spinny matchy thing. There's one that I had never seen before. I don't know what game it's from, but there's a thing that spits a baseball at you and you have to catch it. And it's like a fastball or a heater or
Yeah, no, the pitches or whatever they're called.
yeah. I don't know. I hadn't seen that before. I don't know.
That might
Whatever.
be from like, because they got all the new ones on there too, right? Like the 3D
Yeah.
Marios.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But so you can put those in there. You can put warp pipes to like warp you around the map. It's fucking cool as shit.
Can you warp to a new art style? 'Cause, like, can you go through?
Oh, yeah,
Mario
yeah, you
2,
can have-
like Mario.
You can have multiple styles within the world. Yeah, you're not locked into just one. Basically, the way it works is you just make a shitload of levels, and then you insert them into the world in the order that you want them to show up.
Dude, that is so much better. Like the biggest problem I had with the shit was that you would play a level and then like you'd be like, oh, that was nicely themed, and then you play the next one and it's like just fucking anus destroying, and you're just like, oh my
right. You can also set it up to where now I haven't tried this yet with the wife, but you can play it multiplayer. Now I don't know if that means you both play the level at the same time, like the way they've done the multiplayer before, or if it's literally alternates like a fucking Super Mario game. I don't know if it all. I haven't done it yet. I haven't done that yet. I'm hoping it alternates where it's like player 1, player 2, player 1, player 2.
Dude,
like,
I can't wait to see like the people that just make incredibly difficult levels to make an incredibly difficult world.
Yeah,
people go through like have to. If it's like a permadeath system, so like someone super good at the game might have to go through the entire world on one life.
It's pretty cool. I played through a world course today, and it was really well done. I mean, some of the levels were too long, honestly, for that kind of format, I think. But you're going to run into that stuff where it's just amateurs making levels.
So is it like they pick the sequence, or is like can they do like the branch off system like they did in Mario 3 or whatever?
Yeah, well, I mean, so they set up the overworld map.
Okay, so you can
go
to
do it however.
The other. Yeah. That's so good.
They have the curse key. Oh, that's the red face I was talking about. I'm watching the video right now. So
okay.
Oh God.
But yeah, they added a shitload of stuff from Super Mario Brothers 2. And of course, they did an update a few months ago where you can do a power up in a block that changes you into Link, so like Zelda. So that's pretty cool. That game is fucking amazing. Like I go on tears on that game where I'll play it for fucking days straight because it's so much fun. And it's so, even building levels, I'm not very artistic, but it makes it very easy to do it and have it not be complete shit. Like if you actually spend a little bit of time and have some patience with it, you can actually make really good fucking levels. By
the way, yes, you can. I was just watching it now. You can split the tracks that you're on, and you can make them go in different directions.
Yeah. You can split it. It's awesome. Like this update was like I don't know what more they could honestly add to this game. Like it's pretty much perfect right now. So if you're a Mario fan, it's probably one of the best Mario games out there.
Man, imagine if Nintendo and Media Molecule get together with their Dream system, like people can make custom 3D Mario levels. Because like the Dream system is like a game engine that runs on a console.
Yeah.
Which 90% of is like weird shit, but some of it's actually really cool.
Also, I started playing through Star Ocean First Departure on the Switch as well.
Fucking what? Oh
yeah.
My God.
It got released a while back, I guess. But it's the very first Star Ocean game that never came out in the West. So I'm playing through that, and it's like a remaster. And you can like decide on art style and orchestral arrangements or whatever the fuck. But it's pretty good. It's pretty interesting. It was originally for the Super Famicom, and the way that they did the art and the design of the game is pretty, ahead of its time, I think, for the time that it came out. So it's pretty interesting. You have to learn or buy skills from shops, and then you level them up. It's almost like jobs in Final Fantasy, but a little bit different. You don't necessarily have to focus on one thing. You can kind of spread yourself out like survivalist or scouting or cooking or combat, whatever. But it's pretty cool, and the story's pretty interesting. unlike a lot of the newer Star Oceans, where a lot of it is like maybe jumping from world to world or like stuff out in space. This one has a time travel aspect to it. You're in space for a little bit without giving too much away, and then you go back to where you come from only 300 years earlier. So it still kind of plays like a fantasy RPG, which is interesting.
Take a page from Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, but you can't. It's not unlike Chrono Trigger where you can sort of like jump time to time, not pretty much at will. This is the time travel is fixed in the story, so it happens when it happens. But still, it was funny because the basis of the story is like this pandemic is happening in this world, and you have to figure out how to stop it. I was like, oh well, this is apt. So
I had that realization when I was playing The Division. I was like, wait a minute.
Oh yeah.
I'd say, wait a minute.
But yeah, so that's what I've been up to. That, and I pressure washed the house. That was nice.
Man, when I was in high school, I had a job for a while where we pressure washed brick houses. I mean, fuck that shit. It gets like,
I have a brick house.
even when you get the technique down. I mean, granted, pressure washing like a driveway too, which is part of it, was always fun because, you would just write swear words in someone's driveway and then quickly wash it off. Because you're a high schooler. So what else? Of course, what are you going to do? You're going to draw a penis, right? That's what you're going to do.
Of course.
But, naturally. But man, after you do that a couple times, it's like, fuck. Especially you get those really old houses that have those like stuff that's just so caked on there that even a pressure washer won't take it off. Fuck shit. And that pressure washer was a pain in the ass, but they would never replace it because, it still works. It's like, yeah, but it takes like, it'll like cut out randomly. You had to like, literally there's a point where he's like, just kick it. When it gets to the point to where the guy who owns this is just kick it. Like, you might need to look at getting a new pressure washer, my dude.
You might need to, you got to perfect the A afterward.
So I feel your pain. I feel your pain, Spoot. Pressure washing in like an Alabama summer, man. I've been there.
Well, it's not. We just finished with the pollen here, and it's still not super hot. Like it was. I think it just touched 80 yesterday, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah. It's the humidity that gets you, though.
Yeah.
Do the high school ass in the map.
The high school S. Oh my god!
I want to mention
the secret.
We didn't do that.
I started watching Castlevania on Netflix, the 3rd season.
Oh yeah.
And pretty early on, there's a guy that goes, and there's no toilet paper, and the other guy's like, "What the fuck is toilet paper?" And he's like, "It's Chinese." That's all I have to add to your.
God.
Pandemic plus.
I've considered watching that, not because I give a shit, but because I have a good friend who's one of the artists for that show. And I know her work is really good, and I'm just like, but I just don't. It's just like not my thing. But like, I just
season
really
1 and season 2 were real fucking wildly good. Season 3, they were like, all right, well, now there's giant sci-fi mech robots and people that look like the Power Rangers, and I was like, what the fuck is happening in this season?
It's kind of funny because you're not the first person that I've heard that from. But it's funny because I won't drop her name just for the sake of privacy or whatever, but she does both work for both like Transformers stuff and the Castlevania stuff. So you're not the first person. I'm like, I wonder if she's responsible for some of that shit because like.
I mean, they're trying to make a cinematic universe thing where the Castlevania universe will be attached to 4 others called the Bootleg Multiverse or something. And the more I heard about it, the more I was like, this is like, just keep Castlevania, okay? Yeah. Like season 1 and 2, you were literally on such a right track. It was so good. It was incredible.
No, the only thing I know about it's the art I've seen that she showed me. That's it.
Like it's fucking, it's very dark European, rooted in its time and very evil.
I was gonna start watching that, but then I started like I could only really handle 1 or 2 animes a year.
So I wouldn't call it an anime. It's pretty solidly done by a Western studio in a Western style, but okay.
But I watched Cowboy Bebop for the first time.
No, it's
look at this motherfucker. He skipped Castlevania for Cowboy Bebop. That's a bold and controversial decision there.
I don't know. I mean,
great.
I've never seen
Cowboy Bebop is one of the few things I've seen like
Look,
completion.
it's super overrated. It's all right. All right.
Hey, look, you go back in time and you watch those animes that everyone likes. Cowboy Bebop's the only one that makes sense.
Outlaw Star.
No. The only stuff I've seen is
See, I've heard of Cowboy Bebop, not Outlaw Star.
It was on Toonami for years. How could you have not?
the only stuff I've seen all of Cowboy Bebop. I've seen mostly Inuyasha just because it was on Adult Swim, and then I've seen fucking what was the
this motherfucker's seen Inuyasha and I haven't. That tells you something.
Okay,
Jesus,
so I've seen a lot of
going down, Arthur.
I've seen a lot of it.
I can't anymore. I can't compete.
When I owned a TV, it would be on like my desk is like here and the TV is like right beside it because you'd be doing mindless shit in like Warcraft.
It's fine, Atomic. You can be more anime than me.
No,
Inuyasha is one of the classic pillars of shoujo.
Look,
all right, I'm not into it.
I have a 40K memes folder. I don't have a waifu folder.
That's
it's okay.
fine.
I'm not claiming whatever. And then I've seen.
You don't have to look.
I want to say it's the OG Full Metal Alchemist stuff I've seen. I don't remember a lot of it. I just know I've seen most of it. Just because Adult Swim was just on because I was a night owl.
Look,
so it was just
Full Metal Alchemist was an incredible series. It was the complete opposite of Avatar. It was a Western fantasy set in Europe, done by a Japanese artist.
Speaking of fantasy, one last thing I do want to say. So my same friend that I was telling you about that just got done working in Antarctica, he brought over a thumb drive that has over 2,000 audio files of J.R.R. Tolkien and family just reading shit from his writing. So I think he said there's over 500 hours of shit. So there's been like anthologies that have been released, but there's also been stuff that got released once and you can't find anymore. You got to rip it offline or rip it from online.
And then there's some stuff he found in the ice in Antarctica.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, if you brought back like just audio clippings of ice just like crunching against each other in Antarctica, I'd been like, cool, that's interesting.
But man, some people are into that Asimir shit.
Yeah. This is shit that he brought with him to Antarctica to listen to.
Wait, so so someone asked him, "You're going to Antarctica. You can bring one thing with you. What do you bring?" And he said, "A flash drive with all of J.R.R. Tolkien's family members reading his works slowly out and audio."
And Tolkien himself reading it too. Yeah.
I mean, I go through enough audiobooks. I could. I love that. Talking about like bringing a thing is what was it that the North Koreans were like downloading on the internet? It was like. It was like adult material, Top Gear, and I don't remember what the other one was, but it's like those three things are just like all of most of the files.
It was Top Gear, Initial D, and Evanescence soundtrack. Those are the three things.
I want to add here, I could only watch one episode of Initial D, but it has consistently made the top of my list of anime names that sound like a sex move.
Of course. It's also known as just the tip.
Drifting.
I only know about Initial D because of the fucking torpedo beat memes, AP, for World of Warships.
I don't know about that.
That's where it's. I mean, I had heard the song before, like or one or two of those songs because they've been. Because like other people, I grew up on Newgrounds. That was like in the day, and that fucking song was used everywhere. But I didn't know it was actually a thing until the World of Warships stuff. So
I have no idea what you're referencing.
You've never heard
guess
the torpedo
you're just
stuff?
more anime than me, Atomic.
No, you've never seen like people dodging torpedoes and they'll put the stuff on.
Atomic is my waifu.
Husbando.
Is that?
You've got problems. Then you've got poor choice in partners.
Is that an anime thing?
Husbandos is for when it's a man.
Waifu just means girl?
Yeah, waifu means wife. Husbando means husband.
Why is waifu more creative sounding than husbando? They just added an O to husband.
Yeah, you're
welcome to Japan.
I'm sorry, I can't answer that question for you.
Why did you do that, Arthur?
I wasn't there at the founding of the One Ring. Drumurboy, let's just jump to you. What do you got going on?
Just watching the backlog of roleplay Star Wars that I've been missing. because I'm writing Star Wars tunes for the next couple months, I guess. Fun thing though, this next one's going to be Mandalorian, so I'll listen to all the Mandalorian music, like the OST. It's like a 2-hour long.
I'm sorry. When you said, just to me, when you just said, I guess I'm going to be red Star Wars for the next 2 months, you just sounded so dejected. Like, this is my life now.
It's difficult, man. And like,
I don't doubt it. It's like
omnidirectional generalized anxiety. It's making it really tough to work generally. And now, like, write Star Wars in the middle of this shit.
I mean, I can imagine just doing the same shit over and over again, like repeatedly, like without swapping, like switching it up. I mean, fuck, that's got to be bad.
But Mandalorian is so different. There's so many synthesizers.
Oh yeah, no, it's good. It's the best Star Wars stuff that Disney's put out.
But also that like that instrument, like the wind instrument that they put in. I have one of those sampled. It's just like a contrabass recorder from like medieval times recorders, like the fucking ones you'd play in school, but bigger with keys.
Speaking of Mandalorian, have you seen how they do the sets for that movie? Have you seen the Corridor Digital did their video on it? Holy shit, that blew my mind. Instead
of doing like green screen stuff, because there's some stuff that you just can't do there, they actually have like half of a room built out of high density screens, like 4K screens, and it's rendered, the background's rendered in real time to the camera. Yeah, they're rendered in real time in Unreal Engine 4 with RTX and all this stuff. So they're like actually filming against a background. So like all the reflective material that Mando's wearing, it's actually reflecting off of real light, not like real objects, but like light.
Am I the only one that wasn't really surprised by that at all? Like,
I don't have a fucking clue what you're talking about, so I guess I need to Google Corridor Digital Mandalorian.
Yeah, you can see it. It's just instead of being like a green screen that they go in afterwards and put it over, it's a big ass room. Yeah, 3 sides of a room, and it's rendering the background, sending that to the camera, and interposing the actor at the same time. So when you look through the camera, the screen, you're seeing the world.
Basically, it's real-time parallaxing based on the perspective of the camera.
Yeah.
So in a lot of cases, you can
really good.
Like it's been technology that's like most video games use it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is actually
the first time it's done
taking
like live action with that technology.
Yeah.
No, it's been done before. It's just the first time it's been put into mainstream stuff.
Well,
in a lot of cases they do use it for a lot of smaller productions because it is a more cost-effective way of because green screens are incredibly difficult to light correctly.
Yeah,
like straight up, like they're just
the people that have
hard.
to put all the graphics back there are very expensive.
And what I thought was really cool, because it's also in the videos, it talks about how for certain scenes they'd shoot the scene, and then they could be like, well, let's move some rocks around for whatever, and then it just saves so much time and so much money doing it that way. It was just, I was just like, I didn't know that technology. I mean, I knew something like that had to existed, but it's the first time that I saw somebody actually breaking down how it worked.
I knew they had a version of that for Solo, like the hyperspace stuff in Solo.
Yeah.
They actually had like a scale replica front half of Millennium Falcon in front of a giant curved screen that does the hyperspace wibbity wobbly woo. And then you actually get like realistic reflections in like Danny Glover's and like all the other actors, like their eyes, like they're actually you can't get that kind of detail with the
that started in 7 when they were like, you know what, we just noticed lightsabers don't actually cast light. We're gonna make lightsabers cast light on the stormtrooper. And I was like, oh my god, his face is lit blue. This is the future of special effects.
It's like a futuristic version of like the stuff they used to do back in the day with like in a car with the rotating flat canvas thing.
Yeah, the James Bond stuff. Yeah. They've been doing this for a very, very long time though. Like any sort of green screen stuff, and I think after 2008, basically directors can see the scene as it is unfolding through the camera perspective. But the problem is that
Avatar, right?
Yeah. So the technology's been around for a long time, but in a lot of cases, the element that was missing was like affecting the light to the actor in a more convincing manner, but also allowing the actor to see the scene that he's in a lot of cases. So like, for example, a lot of the early like I say early, but like the prequel Star Wars ones had a lot of this tech in, but a lot of that movie was shot on a blue screen. And so a lot of the movie is basically just like characters interacting with essentially nothing.
But like Arthur, the scene like in the first episode of The Mandalorian on the ice, like when he's walking
down the
there's
thing,
like they do the really good job of hiding the line between him walking on a wooden plank.
There's only like 15 feet of that plank, and then the rest of it's all whatever.
Yeah.
But no, anybody who wants to look at it, you just I guess you go what Arthur said, you could probably Google Mandalorian Corridor Digital or whatever and see that, like seeing a bunch of graphics effects guys break it down and a way for us idiots is pretty good.
It's actually quite easy to replicate in your home if you have like
if you
a
have
big enough TV,
the room, and like some screens or like rear projection screens that they can use.
I mean, you can even do it with projection, like just straight up projection in a lot of cases, right?
Well, you need to do rear projection because projecting past actors would be weird.
Yeah. But in a lot of cases, there's a lot of stuff you can automatically do with that, and you can do it with like mobile phones as well. Like very, very simple effects you can do. So like just the idea that you just put your mobile phone on the top of a camera that's currently recording you, and that tracks the camera's location. Very easy to do. Unreal, Unity have all this sort of tech already built in. So, talk to me about fluid simulation, though. That's real shit.
I loves me some fluid simulation.
What the fuck is wrong with you people? Fluid simulation is incredibly difficult to do.
Blender.
That's what I'm saying. It's super hard to do.
Blender. They've got a new thing called Mantle Ray. It's a new physics. It's like a
but that is rendered. That is rendered stuff. I'm talking about real-time shit.
Yeah, which is funny. With
their real-time renderer, they can do it not like it's a lot of instancing. It's not quite like it's not as good as being fully rendered, like going through the thing, but it's getting damn close. Like real damn close.
So every time
Unreal
physics stuff, people are like, "Oh, it's just water." I'm like, "Motherfucker, you don't understand." Like, this is fucking amazing.
Well, what they're doing there is that they like, especially in video games, they like do the thing and then they bake that animation so that they're just reading off the thing. They're not simulating every particle.
No, we fucking simulate every particle. I don't know what fucking games you do.
Why would you do that? Unless it's like player facing. If it's like
it's player facing. It needs
fucking bake that shit.
I mean,
every single time that you do virtual reality and you interact with water, that's real-time particles.
That's real-time, but like
real-time metables, you know.
I don't want to think about how much time I spent in the first Crysis game just fucking about throwing stuff into water because it was a lot. It's just like, this is fucking amazing.
A remastered version of that's coming to the Switch.
What? Oh, well, I mean, they've been talking.
Oh, it's going to be so nice watching the Switch overheat and shut down, I guess.
Well, they've been talking about doing a remastered version of Crysis, which they need to do because Crytek is hemorrhaging money.
Dude, give me Far Cry 2. Give me Far Cry 2 on the Switch. I'll play that shit.
I mean, I'd play remastered Far Cry 2.
Grenade roll down a hill.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think we got off track here. What are we doing?
Look, here's what's on track. Once we understand real-time fluid simulation, we can finally figure out how aircraft work.
Now, let me tell you something about real-time fluids, because I have this problem, as you can imagine.
No, I don't want to know the end of this joke. Let's skip.
This is going off here.
I'll be very PC about this. Okay, the problem that you have.
Viscosity is hard to do.
No. The problem isn't viscosity or nothing like that. It's like, okay, imagine this is a wall, right? Or like a moving car, right? Like it's just moving like this.
Yep.
The moment raindrops hit this thing, if you want to simulate the raindrops, in most fluid dynamics, the raindrop will be here, and the background thing will keep moving, and the raindrop won't follow it. And the reason for that is because basically the system, when you move something in a video game, it's not animation. It's not moving because this is the keyframes. It's teleporting every instance when things do. That's the most cost-effective way of moving something in a video game. when fluid dynamics happen, they have to be constantly rendered and understood by the engine. That's what real. That's
yes, they have to understand what vectoring is.
So when it hits like a physical object, basically, in order for you to make sure that the fluid sticks with the object that you want it to move with, you have to at all times render mathematical equations that tell you exactly where the fluid hit and exactly where that object that it hit is in real time. That is an incredible amount of math that you need to produce every single microsecond.
Yeah,
engine is running.
Vectors. You have to store a vector for every object, every pixel that's moving.
You're talking about aircraft.
Insane. It's insane. It really is insane.
So you're talking about aircraft AP in DCS. A while back they integrated wake turbulence from the wingtips of aircraft, and it's fucking crazy the behind the scenes shit to just make that work, which is something you just really don't think about because just don't fly directly behind another plane. It won't be a problem. But when they show what's actually going on there, it's fucking mind blowing.
I guess. I mean, wing turbulence is the only way to properly simulate wing and ground effect. Yeah, my favorite type of aircraft. Have you King seen Abomination?
Oh yeah, it's fucking.
For those at home, imagine a plane where the turbulence hits the ground and bounces back and hits the back end of the wing. So you have to fly so low that the speed of your flight is capable of reflecting back and forcing your aircraft to fly.
Caspian Sea Monster, baby.
It's the way. It's one of the most cost-efficient ways to fly because it requires minimum amount of forward propulsion. The problem is, of course, is that you have to fly super duper low. Why do I have to be so harsh on wing and ground effect vehicles? Because they fucking fall out of the sky. That's why.
Well, they're incredibly hard to control as well. Have you seen the
whole point of the aircraft is to get hit with its own turbulence wave.
Yeah. I mean, the Russians built one that had 10 engines on it, I think, to move its weight around. It's pretty cool. Have you seen the new have you looked at the new flight simulator stuff at all, AP? Nope. How it's going to have 37,000 airports in it?
I mean, that sounds like too many.
I mean, it's going to be the planet true to scale.
It's just going to be everyone lands at LaGuardia or something like that.
Fuck
at the same time.
Yeah.
I hope it's one of those things where they do the Dark Souls multiplayer.
Well, there are
two airports.
A message in the sky, and then if you click the message in the sky, you just see a fiery airplane hit the ground.
There are two airports that I truly love. One is set on the side of a fucking sheer cliff.
Oh yeah, that one. I've seen it.
And so if you don't take off, you James Bond GoldenEye right off the edge and die.
Here's the thing about that fucking the James Bond thing. They did that stunt. And then they didn't put it in the movie. They just did a different, they actually did that stunt. The guy did the thing off the cliff into the plane. He did it, but it's not in the movie. Why would you not have the actual thing that's infinitely more badass than whatever they did with fucking green screen shit? It's
here's the thing that you're gonna know though. It's never as interesting as something that is intended to look more interesting.
That's number 2 airport. Strait of Gibraltar. In order to land, they have to shut the highway to the fucking rock down. Clear all the cars off
so you can land.
Because the highway is the landing strip.
It's part of the end of the runway. It's just hilarious.
I love the Strait of Gibraltar.
Your destiny has been set. You need to do a very monotone YouTube video. Just like, this is APGamingREAL's top 10 airports in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Number 10. Gibraltar Airport. Please, for the love of God, I need you to do that. That'll probably be your most important video you've ever released.
The most important video I've ever released was Mistborn Episode 1.
That airport seriously sounds like someone was playing City Skylines and they forgot all about the airport until their whole fucking shit was filled.
I think it's more like Britain decided to start giving people back their land when Britain was like, man, holding on to colonies is really tough. Everyone hates us for some reason. But you know what? If we control the fucking Rock of Gibraltar, we could control all shipping in and out of South Europe.
Everything's
and now
really
we need
hard.
an airfield.
What could we
We've
do?
got a
Let's build an
multi-hundred-year-old.
airport. We have to close the highway to land at it.
I mean, look, the
Jesus.
the fucking Strait of Gibraltar military base there is hundreds of years old.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be used to throw javelins at people. Now they're like, shit, we need a fucking landed aircraft out here.
Now they're throwing the javelins at the cars to stop them so they can land the fucking plane.
If you ever get bored and want to go down a rabbit hole, AP, look up a bunch of the Bush pilot landings on YouTube. Some of the landings those guys make in like, oh, I have 20 feet of runway on top of a mountain and I need to land a plane here. Those guys are ballsy as hell.
Some aircraft are designed to do specifically that.
Still though, like when you see some of these, like the margin of error is insane. Just the skill of those guys, like I mean, I know they're, they can take off in 5 feet and blah blah whatever, but still, it's like watching some of the landings some of these guys do because they have to, not because they choose to, but they have to. I'm just like, it gives me anxiety just watching it. I'm just like, no, like that sense of like that part of your brain that tells you you're going to die gets set off. It's pretty crazy, but it's really interesting to watch.
That's how I felt landing on an aircraft carrier and taking off from one.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
That's why they constantly practice that shit.
Well, it was funny. The first time that I landed on an aircraft carrier, I was hooked into the ICS intercommunication system, right? And I'm talking I'm listening to the pilots talk, and then all of a sudden they say, they call me by my last name, and I say, yeah, and they're like, come up to the cockpit. I'm like, okay. So I walk up to the cockpit, and they were like, yeah, we're going to be landing in like 2 minutes. And I was like, okay. And they're like, take a look. And I'm looking out the cockpit, out the window. You can't see the aircraft carrier. You just can't see it. It's still too far away. And I was like, okay. And then you see this little dot. It's like that. Little dot.
Call the ball, baby. Call the ball.
And I was like, okay. And they're like, the co-pilot kind of turns around, looks at me and smiles. He goes, you might want to go sit down. I'm like, okay. So I go sit down, and like you're looking at it, I was looking as I'm standing there, there were rear facing seats, but I kind of like turned around and was looking at the cockpit, and the boat is doing this.
Oh yeah. It's moving up and down 20, 30 feet.
And I sit down, and there's a little round window right where I'm next to where I'm sitting, and all you see is 1 second of flight deck, and then boom, you're down. And it's not a landing like you're used to.
Because it's a fucking wire.
It's a wire, and two, and then full powers in case you have to bolt her. And
exactly, they have to go back up to full power because if they miss the wire, they can take back off.
I know.
You can always tell. So you can always tell the difference between someone that was either trained in like a college setting to be a commercial airliner pilot, or was in the Air Force, compared to someone that's flying your commercial plane that was in the Navy. The Air Force or college trained pilot will always have a much smoother landing because Navy pilots are just ingrained in slamming down on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you have to come down at like a 30, 45 degree angle, and you're sideways as well. Plus, if you've got, I mean, granted, it's in DCS, I've made carrier landings, which is not the same, but the conditions are similar in that you've got the same crosswind, the deck is pitching up and down. So the technique is the same, even though it's virtual. It's 1 for 1. It's DCS, digital cards, what it's supposed to do. But it's just like, plus the carriage, the gear for landing, say an F-18 or whatever, is designed to take that impact. So you're hitting so much harder than like if you did that in say an F-15 or something, you'd snap the gear off. But
the gear is much smaller. The main mounts on naval aircraft are
they're chunky. Oh yeah, because they have to be. Because because not only are you're coming down, but there's oftentimes the deck comes up and meets you. And so
you also, depending on if you're landing on land or on a carrier, I can't remember offhand what it is now, because it's been so long, but the tire pressure that you inflate the tires to is different. Yeah. The tire pressure on a ship is higher. Was that right? higher than it is on land.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Which I always thought was pretty interesting, because you need to be able to transfer that shock a lot better. But anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, role-playing games.
What about
we're still on Drumurboy's intro, actually.
Writing music Mandalorian style.
Fuck.
Write music Mandalorian style, waiting for a synthesizer to arrive because I'm fucking stoked about that. When it does arrive, I'm going to learn it a little bit so I don't look like an idiot. But then I might actually stream, like do like the camera down at the desk and like have my little synthesizer and guitar pedal streamy jammy thing. Also, Spotify rolled out a new Nerd or Die project's done. That's why I'm on to Star Wars. You'll probably hear about that soon. Spotify introduced a thing where you can tip artists directly.
Ooh, nice.
So, and Spotify doesn't take any cuts from that. So I have one of those. If you listen to my music a lot and you like it and you got a few bucks hanging around, I would appreciate flip me a coin. Toss a coin to your bard.
Toss a coin to your mixer.
Yeah, there you go.
Like that one. Dave.
Yo. I make video games. I'm continuing to make video games. That's about it. Let's play.
Yeah, I don't need to do anything.
What's up, Arthur? Anything new?
No, it's fine. I'm skipping the intros.
All right, great. Twitch Prime, there you go.
I'm no longer the Prince of Anime, so you know.
Yeah,
Previously on the show, you got on a barge and sailed on the barge. There was some Gollum shit before that. Now you're on a barge. You've evaded your sister.
We're on a barge, motherfucker.
Yeah, you're on a barge.
Don't you ever forget.
Yeah, I
That's how the
guess.
song goes.
Yeah, I know. Technically, that is true. Let's see here. According to my notes, today, the day that you arrive in port at the Conclave, is the 37th of wet. 37th day of the wet season. As in the morning, with an icy fog around you, you roll into a long section of coastline. It seems as if the whole town is built along this coast. As your boat begins to roll in, the captain pulls down the gem that is creating a distortion field around you, preventing you from seeing out, but also from anyone else seeing in. And you are met by... Sorry, what?
That worked out great, by the way.
It did. Well, you didn't get raided by anyone else, so, you know. You're greeted by the sounds of lumberjacking, wood cutting. You can see people out here are assembling some permanent houses using that same Lincoln log style, but the vast majority of housing here appears to be yurts made with either drawn leather or really thick fur around a frame. Roads are fairly questionable. There's no foundation anywhere in this city. People are sinking into the mud on a regular basis as you roll up on the docks, which appear to be one of the only permanent structures in the area. The docks
We had a wagon with us?
You do?
Is that right?
That's correct. That wagon is not going to do so well here.
You gotta put some skis on it.
Going full Finland, boys.
Mounts around here appear to mostly consist of tamed deer or elk or other sorts of super giant mobile former game animals. Horses, non-existent. You guys are the only people in town that have a horse, as far as you can tell.
We have the ghost.
Are people impressed?
As you land, people are impressed that you have arrived as part of one of the armory boats carrying arms for the Conclave.
Well, do we have an actual horse, or is it just like demon horse and Gygax?
You have a demon horse and you have Gygax.
Gygax is y'all's normal horse.
Yeah, we sold the donkey.
Yep.
And we sold the other chickens and all that
Correct.
shit that we had.
No.
We sold that other. Do we have another cart that we sold, or was
You
it?
sold it.
We sold the
That was the chicken cart.
Yeah.
It's full of chickens. The captain gestures to you and says, "Well, get off my boat." It's nice transiting with you, but I did die, so...
You gotta go home, but you gotta get the fuck out of here.
Oh, just think of your new life as something that you have a second chance on.
Do you fear death?
So, as he's waiting, he pulls out a little flute and starts playing 3 notes on it. And as he does, from underneath the docks, like sieging out of the freezing cold water, come a number of stone golems, who then begin picking up the crates that are on and moving them off. And he says, "Get to your cart in a few minutes. You might want to secure your way through the town. Figure out where you're going. It changes. This is the only place that you can find that has permanent structures. Every other city, we kind of just move on yurts.
Nomadic people, I gotta get it.
Follow the herd."
I got you.
We've got a Chris the Strong to find.
I mean, so he gestures to the antlered deer and says, "Across the islands, antlered deer are a primary source of food. One that must be maintained carefully, with wisdom. Care.
Not over hunting, I get it. Smart.
You'd think they'd be fish. Whatever.
So when you say that, he says, fishing's done mostly by raider folk. You have to be pretty strong, pretty well armed to fish around here."
Just having a mental image of Adrian being like, "All right, fuck it, let's go," and just diving in the water with a hammer. She could beat the shit out of a fish.
And that's when he drowned.
Oh man.
The hammer pulled you off.
No, I used the hammer to propel myself like fucking Aquaman. I just move like 20 feet at a time, just like, you know.
I guess we should find...
Yeah.
Go... I guess...
Fine.
As you're waiting, the golems lift your wagon out and place it on the docks, which is barely wide enough for the wagon. Gygax looks back at all of you from the far side of the wagon like, "You expect me to walk in this shit?"
I mean, he's got 6 legs, right? He's more stable than anything else would be.
And he's not super heavy, right?
Correct.
It's not like we put things on him.
I don't think our cart has a ton of stuff in it right now, does it?
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
it's got like 2 other party members and...
Well, I'm sure though too, like getting through this fucking...
Yeah, I mean, the cart
stuff
immediately
we can
sinks into the mud, and people are making
Nice.
no way for you. They fucking walk around your cart at like minimum possible distance. They give Gygax a little bit of room, but the back end of the cart, people are basically like walking onto the step onto the cart in order to make more space. They're going over your cart to get to the far side of it.
I mean, I guess I'll try and help, like either lifting or pushing from the back of the cart.
Okay, yeah. You can start to get some movement, some play.
I mean, I'll help too as well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking too, once we get out of like the most heavily trafficked areas, it won't be as bad of a mess.
You would be wrong. It's going to be terrible everywhere.
Yeah, that's great. Well, mount the flying horse later, fuckers.
Yeah, this is what passes for civilization up here in the north, which is not so much. What do you all want to do? You're at the end of your dock, which is one of dozens and dozens of docks. You can see that a number of ships here are supplying or offloading. You can see what appear to be fishing vessels preparing to head out. but their flags are triangular rather than the square flags that most of the ships here have.
So what's the Crix was a prince, right? So I'm looking for a tall building.
There are no buildings taller than 3 stories.
Or we look for the one with the most decoration or whatever.
Or like the most flags or like some sort of...
Okay, yeah. You do see a series of flags that are standing basically at the highest point. It appears to be some distance inland, maybe like 5 or 6 blocks inland, and maybe less than a mile away, laterally, down the coast.
I guess we should start moving that way then.
As you're walking, you can hear people discussing recent local events. Some people are calling out if you're mercenaries, if you want work. Others are just noticing that you appear to be strong men and offer you work on their boats. Several are attempting to sell you today's goods, including cinnamon breaded ice peppers with baked in sugar. It sounds as if this bread boat technique you have invented has managed to get ahead of you, although it did travel 5 days faster than you. And people are calling them, you know, longboat canoes. And they appear to be serving extra spicy deer sausage with northern ice pepper in it. Just that it'll, you know, like the guy walks up to you with one. It's basically like a fucking hot dog. You know, it's not an actual hot dog, but you can imagine it, right? Like it's a
long
bread bowl with a long line of super spicy meats, and he's just like, "This will get you started in the morning. 1 silver coin, 1 silver coin, the hottest thing to come out of the north."
1 whole silver? That seems like a whole lot.
When you say that, he's like, "You want the best in the north, or will you settle for biscuits and gravy? Maybe you're a southerner and you can't handle our spices, sir, in which case move along."
I can handle them.
So he holds a hand out for coin.
I'll give it to him.
All right, yeah, he reaches into
Yeah, no,
his...
I love the idea that we just like open up that bag. It's got like 9,000 gold pieces in it. It's just like, can you break a gold, asshole?
He will give you change, and he
I
reaches...
would like to buy this bubble gum. Here's a $100 bill, fucker.
How much could a loaf of bread possibly cost? A gold?
If you're paying a gold for a loaf of bread, you have some very serious problems.
We're gonna ruin this town's economy. Just inflate everything.
Yeah, I mean, the guy hands you over. The bread is a little stale. Maybe it was baked yesterday or the day before. But that venison is still steaming hot, and you can see those little diced peppers all mixed in there.
Hell yeah, man.
What do you want to do, Finley?
I want to eat it.
Well, let me ask you. Some like it hot, and some like when the heat is on. How spicy do you like to get?
Level 5 at the Thai restaurant.
He's doing a Hot Ones interview.
Because this is essentially ghost peppers. So
Okay.
yeah, he's looking at you like, yeah, I'm gonna get this southern outlander, little halfling ass or little elf ass bitch.
Maruga Scorpion, come on.
Don't they know that people in the south grow more peppers than people up north because of the climate and the inclination to eat hot things to cause you to sweat in order to cool down your skin in the hot weather?
Yeah, okay. Well, you're not from the Sunpath Empire where that might apply.
Maybe in another life I was.
Oh my god, what's in this? Tomato? Ooh.
Yeah. Did you put black pepper on this? Oh my god.
Is that what you do? You're like,
This mayonnaise is so spicy.
this is so mild.
It's funny, Spoon. You talking about growing the South growing peppers. It's like my grandmother grows peppers in Alabama. I'm like, well, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I got sent out in the rain to go grab peppers out of the garden.
I got peppers growing in my garden right outside this window.
Yeah.
You ever tried meth peppers?
Let's be clear here. In this fantasy world, super concentrated flavor comes from the north, not the south.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I needed to have different foods come from different location because I knew food was going to be a big part of this game because Dave was going to be.
Of course.
So yeah, I munch up and keep my eyes open and stare at him to assert my dominance.
Yeah, you make an intimidation check.
Okay.
Fail.
Yeah, you fail. I mean, you don't assert any level of dominance to him. He's, he's a big guy. He's wearing the fur shoulder boards. He's wearing all black deer leather clothing. When he sees you eat it, he just turns to the rest of your party and is like, "Want to try one, Southerners?"
Sure, we'll do it.
All right.
Yeah.
You keep handing over silver pieces, which you're of course tracking.
I would like extra venison.
How many silver and a gold? Is it 10?
10.
Okay.
Yes. They use the metric system of economics in D&D because it's superior. Yeah. And that's the metric system that isn't designed by J.K. Rowling, by the way.
It's 13 3/4 silver per 1 gold.
Where you have a 5/7/35 ratio.
Yeah.
I saw a thing.
Fantasy authors just make it difficult, man. That's the entire premise of fantasy.
Look, let me tell you something. You should read Spice and Wolf or watch the Spice and Wolf anime where they're like, "Yep, this is the balance of gold coins worth different amounts of silver from different cities." That's the whole storyline. Yeah. The whole storyline is the difference between coinage. All of season 1. It's incredible. I'm so thoroughly engrossed. I've never cared more about medieval coinage than this moment.
What's that fucking policy you can pass in Mountain Blade to debase the currency? I'm always like, no, we're not doing that.
No, don't do that. Why would you do that?
So there's always that guy, It's like, what the fuck? No, it's stupid.
I'm still just running around on my horse killing bandits. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
You need to get a couched lance, motherfucker.
Yeah, I got a couch lance, my man. Or
couch lance, hit X, drop that shit down, hit somebody for 600 points of damage.
I got a mod that lets me decapitate people with a 2-handed axe from a horse, and I'm just like if you do enough damage to kill them, and it's like does over a certain threshold, it just pops dismember and the head just goes flying, and it's not realistic at all. But I'm like, oh, it feels so good just going.
You can hit a horse for over 1,000 damage. It's great.
I've probably put 15 hours into that game so far, and I'm still trying to figure out the fucking controls. So
yeah, I'm with you, dude.
I mean, I do all my orders via voice command, which is probably the best thing I've done for that game. So
I didn't know that was possible.
Well, yeah,
you have to use
ways to do it.
Extra program.
Voice attack. Yeah, I already had voice attack, but speaking of currency, real quick, I saw a guy on the D&D subreddit was talking about how in his games he uses, because Electrum is one of those things where it's rarely ever used, but he puts it in his, and it's only accept like normal merchants look at it very weird because it's like it's a out of date or like currency from a previous civilization, but like people who fence stuff, the criminals like dwarven merchant guilds and stuff will still take it because they know how they actually know the value. It's like that's actually pretty good.
It's the Bitcoin of the universe.
Pretty much. It's like because it's one of those things where it's like sparsely used. I was like, that's a great idea, actually. The people that know their shit will still take it, but people who don't won't. It's like, have you ever seen stuff where somebody hands in a $2 bill or something and they get the cops called on them because they're like, oh, this is fake money?
I had to, when I was delivering for Domino's, I had to make change once with my rare $3 bill, and the guy was like, that's fake, and I'm like, I assure you, it's not fake. I can't break a 50 without this $3 bill. I'm entirely out of money because you're trying to pay a $20 order with a $50 bill.
When I was a kid, I tried to use a 50-cent piece, I think, because I didn't know whatever. I was like, I don't know, I was like 8 or 9, and they brought their manager over because they'd never seen a 50-cent piece before, and I was just like, because my grandfather on my dad's side collected coins, so I've seen, it wasn't rare to me. It was just like, it's like, what the fuck, man? It's like, oh, it hurts. It's stupid. Anyways,
man, we got extra spicy Atomic. All kinds of stories.
I'm just out of fucks to give, man.
So when you say you want extra meat,
with the Werther's original, that's funny.
He holds out a hand for another coin from you.
Sure.
He takes one and slaps it over the other to make like a bread boat house.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's your extra venison.
I don't care.
All
right, I did some renovations. I added another story to my bread boat. All right.
It's a bread submarine now.
I put two hot dogs in like a bratwurst bun before. I've done that.
This is the submarine way. The subway, if you will.
Nope.
Yeah, no. Oh, now you make me want. I want some fucking deer sausage, man.
Yeah. Well, you're eating it in game right now.
I know it. It's not the same as being in my cast iron pan. AP. Jesus.
I'm sorry. It was made by real artisanal medieval blacksmith chefs.
Look, I used to have a guy when I lived in Alabama who hunted deer and made deer sausage, and now I live in Florida. I don't have access to that guy, and it makes me sad.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For the rest of you, you get, if you wish, and you've marked off a silver piece, you get your artisanal bread boat longship plus deer venison plus that just oh so delicious ice peppers.
Look, I need the calories. Have you seen how swole I am?
We got ice peppers from the demon folks, right?
You did. You put them in your soup.
I need the calories. Have you seen how skinny I am?
That's the one that makes sense.
You need to put on weight because your grandmother keeps, trying to shove food down your face. I need the calories just to maintain muscle mass.
So, yeah, you just continue to be called at by people offering you work, trying to sell you things. At least one person tries to sell you like a golem flute.
Golem.
We don't know.
Like summon a golem? What does that do?
I mean, do you stop to talk to that person?
It's the control mechanism.
So this is like imagine an orc grandmother that has shrunken down to basically the size of a tall goblin. When you come over, you could see that she's working with spell forms in the air and the ways of sorcery, and she says, "Oh, interested in the golem flute, are you?" Yes, my family's been crafting golems for hundreds of years.
AP, I don't remember if we talked about this last time, but when we get back to town and I get a golem, does it obey me without the flute, or do I need the flute?
You don't need the flute if it's been crafted specifically for you to obey you by verbal command.
Right.
These people, I mean, you got a good enough Arcana check. These people give out the flutes so that people who don't own them specifically can obey them, but that's so that the original creator of the golem can, in an emergency situation, be like, all right, defend the town, and all of the golems that they've ever created will obey them. It's also a way to be like, okay, you're not worthy of using my gift anymore. I'm calling my golem back because it's mine.
Or I can imagine in like maybe combat or something, it's like you need something.
You could never use a golem against the person that created it because they would just be like, okay, stop.
I mean,
golem.
Also just like fighting is loud. So if
in a
you
world
said
where
something,
everyone owns a Tesla. And your car just starts driving down the street without you. You're like, what? I'm not worthy.
So the flute won't allow me to control any golem.
It will allow you to control whatever golems are keyed to it.
We do.
So can I ask her what golems are keyed to the flute she's selling?
Yeah, she gestures for you to come with her inside of her yurt. And she hobbles her way up inside. And in it holding the yurt up, so it is the center point holding the roof up, is a golem made entirely out of what looks to be river stones that have all been fitted together perfectly smoothly in order to become a sort of suit of armor.
Why would you sell a flute to control a golem that's holding up your yurt?
I could
say, let's go, golem, and now you have no home.
She says, I can get whatever I need to in that regard.
What, golems? To hold up your yurt?
A stick. I can get a stick.
That lost stick technology.
Seems like a lot of work to craft a golem when you could have just gotten a stick.
The golem... This is for show. Look, I'm going to go get the stick right now. She goes at the back end of the yurt. She has like a super long pole. She gets it in at an angle, and then she fits it in, and then she tells the golem to take a few steps forward and put its arms down, and it stops right in front of you, and it flexes.
Finley, this is clearly the showroom model. You don't get this one. You get one just like it.
No, you get this one.
This one's extremely overbuilt for the purpose.
I have been looking for something to hold up a yurt. How much is the flute / golem?
So she looks at you and kind of looks over your clothing and all of your companions and says, "It won't fight for you. It'll lift things. It'll do work, do your dishes, do your laundry. 10,000 gold."
It's nice to meet you. Continue holding up this ceiling, and I kind of give the golem a good game pat on the backside. And
No, wait.
Aren't we already trading for golems?
You are. You're trying to get a soul-bound golem.
Yeah.
Trying to. I thought.
We already signed the agreement for it.
You signed the agreement, but you have to live to make it back, and then you have to live through the 40-day creation process.
Yeah, but I'm not spending 10,000 gold on a golem that doesn't even fight. All it's good for is holding up roofs. That's stupid.
It'll do your laundry.
I walk away. I'm a druid. I don't need anybody to do my laundry. I just wear my clothes until they fall apart.
I have prestidigitate. Everyone's clothes are spotless unless I don't like them.
Look, you just need magic servant on it. That's all you need, really. And it's just, or unseen servant or whatever it's called.
She says, wait. It's a good financial investment. It'll build things for you. Do hard labor.
It doesn't seem like a good investment because it's not bringing you any money and you built it. Adios.
It'll lift things for you. We have the dwarf.
Let's have a discussion about sunk fallacy.
Sunk cost
fallacy. I'm not giving this woman any money for this useless golem.
Okay.
You ever heard of cart nuts? No, haven't, because it failed.
That's right.
You never started it.
Yeah. Remember that guy that Arthur made very early on, like probably one of the first NPCs we ever interacted with, and he tried to sell Spooty some fucking cows.
Oh yeah.
Tried to sell him some oxen.
All the way back on the ranch. Yeah, back in the first town.
That was way back.
Back in the day.
That was back when Finley still liked Gleemo.
And we knew nothing about him. Oh wait.
Oh, I still like Gleemo. And the thing is that, but that's the thing, like Finley's a hard sell. Like he's not stupid. I mean, he's stupid, but not when you're trying to sell him something. And if you're gonna sell him a golem that holds up a roof and does laundry, don't come at him with 10,000 gold, please. Next.
This thing needs
it's for church, honey. Next.
How many?
It's an old meme, but it checks out. Right?
So as you leave, she says, "Okay, pick the roof back up," and then she removes the stick and hands back out to her chair.
Stick.
You know that meme where you get like your significant other to like hold the broom that's holding the cup to the roof?
Yeah.
Or the Australian version where like instead of water in the cup, it's a giant spider. Yeah.
When she puts the stick right there, I'm like, how much for the stick?
1 gold.
Sold. I buy the stick from 1 gold.
All right, she tosses like a 12-foot long pole to you.
See?
Get a new walking
Now
stick.
I got something useful.
Trap bait 2.0.
I'm putting it down in my inventory. 12-foot pole.
How you gonna carry a 12-foot fucking?
I assume he's gonna use it as a walking stick. I'm just imagining now Finley trying to fit through a door.
I mean, it's twice your height. You can use it to pull yourself out of the mud.
That's right.
He's just standing on top of the cart.
Look, that'll come in handy when we have to float the wagon and cross the river, and then 3 of us are gonna die.
This wagon was not designed for floating technology.
No, it's part of the adventure game that we're gonna play to get the fish. We need a hook and attach the hook to the 12-foot pole somehow, so we can catch the big.
It's like y'all never played a point and click before.
It'll be like that episode in Top Gear where they tried to make like the Toyota Hilux into a speedboat. It's just fine.
Yeah. Oh man. Anyway.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
We're going to find Cricks.
You're going to find Cricks are strong.
You make your way towards a facility, it should be called. It looks like it has been carved onto a foundation of a large rock that must surely have been shaved down to fit this place. For you, it perhaps seems like a very large town hall. For the people around here, this is perhaps the largest building they've ever seen.
So does this building still look permanent, or is it still look
yes,
like
it's very permanent because it's on an actual foundation.
But is it still built
the
like
foundation
the Lincoln logs
comes several inches. No, stone foundation.
No. I mean the building itself is still made in like that Lincoln log style.
Made out of stone.
Okay, the whole thing's made of stone.
It's made out of fitted stone. In fact, it looks pretty similar to dwarf work, but only in like the roughest way possible. Clearly, it's imitation work done by someone who'd seen fitted stone before in cementing and bricking processes, and then was like, well, I can do that, but they don't have the kind of perfectly textured fittedness and
like
that micromillimeter workmanship.
If you do it well enough, you don't need any mortar. It just,
it's passable. It's an inhabitable abode.
It's better than a yurt.
Dovetail granite.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, like that lighthouse.
Yeah. So the rest of the town moves, but this place is solid. Do we get a sense like this is like the center of town?
This town doesn't have a center insofar as it's just a very long snake of, maybe 2 or 3 streets in. This is the farthest out. This is the edge of town essentially, but it also appears to be the center of administration.
Well, what I'm wondering is because they follow the herd, if it's like the herd, the herds will move in certain, like they'll rotate spots. I'm wondering if they have a couple permanent buildings at each place that they would settle at, and they just rotate through those throughout the season.
So the building looks like a 8-pointed star. There's a center hall, and then there are, at the compass rose points, a offshoot hall coming from it, and people are walking around to pick the correct looking hall for whatever they want to do. You can see runes and iconography on a plate above each one of these hall entrances, indicating which god it is dedicated to.
And I'm gonna go find the one dedicated to corn. And,
that's wrong, completely wrong. Everything you're saying is wrong.
Just 8-pointed star.
I'm not good at religion anymore, so I'm not even gonna guess.
I'm making a Warhammer reference.
The one you're standing directly in front of is the one dedicated to Hall El, the elven god of knowledge. He's also considered to be like the father of all gods.
Did we find out if Crix was like Goose and Guz?
I think he was.
I think he was Goose and Guz.
He was a war priest of Goose and Guz, correct?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So
because I think the other guy said that as well. The guy that boxed Kelly, I believe.
Boxed? More like
Okay, fuck,
Steve
whatever.
the box.
I mean, there were 2 hits. You hit him and he hit the floor. It's fine.
Okay, you travel around the outside looking for the Guzanguzian hall.
Well, I guess there are 3 hits because Kelly was hitting on him pretty hard before that.
Wow. Okay, so the Hall L hall is getting a lot of traffic. Guzanguz is the other one that's getting a lot of traffic. The hall for the lady, aka the god of death, appears to get little to no traffic. You see no one attempting to walk around or enter it. When you enter through the Guzanguzian hall, it's like a cathedral without any stained glass. There's no vaulted ceilings. There's just benches in here across from each other. So like bench, table, bench, so that 2 groups of individuals can sit and look at each other. Some people are praying. Others are completing what appears to be paperwork or some sort of government processing. There are dozens of these setups all over the place. And towards the back end of the hall, where the center of the star would be, there's a fighting pit. And beyond that is Trixa Strong, standing at the back of the hall, watching 2 people fight each other.
I'll go watch the fight, I guess.
Okay, yeah, when you approach, he notices and calls an end to the fight. He's just like, we've done enough here. You're both evenly matched. Your technique is terrible. It's sloppy. Just because it's early doesn't mean you can get away with this. You shame Guz and Guz with your dishonor. Return when you have actually mastered the techniques I've taught you. And the two people immediately like bow and skitter out of the place, and he says, "Come with me beyond the archway. We've been waiting for you. I will summon the others."
All right. Mm-hmm. Sure.
So he takes you to an arched doorway. It's a double door facility, right? Like you enter, they lock the doors behind you, open the next set of doors like an airlock. And as soon as that opens, it's entirely darkness in this room, except for the glowing blue familiar light of one of these shattered crystals. He has you wait a certain distance away. You can see that there's markings on the floor that indicate something. Some of them appear to be grave markers. Other of them appear to be like signed by people in chalk. 7 more individuals are summoned by him as he goes around to each door and like knocks and brings people out of their halls. One of the 7 is the priestess that you met up with on the boat, who was, you know, puppeted by your sister.
Really?
Yeah.
She was Gods and Gods before?
This is, so you're in the center hall. He's summoning people from the 7 other halls.
Yeah.
He's
So
summoning
she's
the local priests
she's a
of
cleric
each
of
god.
death and like
Yes.
cleric of whatever and cleric of whatever.
Uh-huh. I thought she was with
Solvent Black, she is.
Starvin Black.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Crick stops in front of you and says, "I'm honored to receive you here. Many have attempted to touch these objects. Our greatest scholars and sorcerers have determined that these are beacons or anchors of reality. They observe all that happens around them. And so we have encased it so that whatever is inside cannot see out except what we wish. Some have attempted to approach it. Others have made a test of seeing how close they can get before their fear takes them. Some who have gotten too close are consumed by the object, never to be seen again."
This is the crystals, yeah?
Yes. You can see a half-elf, half-orc approaches and says, "There are many who have come claiming to have knowledge of these things. What proof do you have that you are who you say you are?"
I'll look to the cleric of death, ask her.
Yeah, she's not going to help you. Oh.
Yeah, she's being puppeted. I don't think she was.
She's in on it, as far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, so
Crix participant.
Crix is asking us for proof, right?
This is not Crix asking you for proof. This is another individual. They're dressed in entirely different clothing than everybody else from around here. We're talking long white robes, blue square markings all over them, like a giant fucking pope hat. He's half elven, half orcish, and he says, "Anytime, just explain. And who are you and why are you worthy of these objects?"
Who are you to demand such things from us?
"I am the chosen of the Father of Gods. Among all here, I am revered as the highest."
So you respect the gods the most, do you?
Correct. I am
are you
also
aware?
the king.
I'll point to the cleric of death and be like, "That one is with Stalvin Black, who wishes to, dispatch of all the gods."
I have heard such things. She has freely offered her allegiance before arriving.
Interesting. Because
before her arrival, none came to the halls. Now, some transit to the Hall of the Lady, hoping that their eternities will not be so painful, looking for absolution before their deaths. We do not turn away servants of the gods here, even ones that we disagree with. This is a holy place.
That's very noble.
There is no nobility about it. The Father watches over all and will make his judgments when necessary.
So is this thing, like you said it was encased? Is it like encased in glass or?
It's not, so the building is what's encasing it.
Oh, okay.
Let me see if I can try
it's free floating,
draw.
but like.
Yes.
Because I don't want to touch it, because every time we touch it, we end up in a mountain. So what I'm assuming that means it's gigantic explosions.
So, okay. Is he more or less asking us to prove that we're worthy? Or
I mean, to some extent, he's asking you, like, you've told Crix you want to come here and see this thing. Why should I bother letting you get anywhere near it? All right, so this is kind of what the place looks like. I didn't have a lot of time to draw it. I mean, I just right now.
It's theater of the mind.
We're talking 8 halls connecting to a center box location. That box is a completely sealed, like, stone castle through which the crystal, which they believe allows something inside to record all events outside, now it can only see what's in the box.
Yeah, okay.
So how close, I'll ask him, like, how close anyone else has ever gotten to it without going insane or...
I mean, he points to some of the markers you saw when you came in, like grave markers or chalk symbology, and there's someone that got within, like, 4 paces of it. But they died.
I'll stand on that line then.
Yeah, like people are hashtag shook when you do that. Like the closer you get, like beads of sweat start coming down. And he says, I believe you. You are, as Crix has said, more than simply mortal. I do not know if you are demigods, as some have whispered. There is said to be a band of more than mortal, less than god, opposing Stalvin Black, moving across the land, spreading magic and dancing. Are you they?
That is
yes, the silly walks. Yes.
Oh man.
If you have power over this thing, then by right it is yours.
I don't know if it's as much power as we are the same as it. Or more similar to it.
Yeah, I mean, he gestures to your flesh bodies and says, I don't understand, but understanding is not required, only belief.
Let me real quickly ask. We have traveled a very long distance to find out what you have managed to uncover with your lifetime of being around this object.
There's more than one lifetime. Our people passed the stories of when this was first discovered, 800 years ago.
Well, that is what we're here to learn.
People get close to it and they die.
That's all you can tell us?
Daka just looks around.
He says, there have been theories, I can tell you. No true knowledge. And as a speaker for the god of knowledge, I would hate to spread anything that is not strictly true. So know that when I tell you these things, I cannot back them up with any certainty. There is a sorcerer of some power and renown in the local area who claims that these things are more than what we believe them to be.
And what do you think
he can harness the power by taking from it, but more specifically, that the thing emanating off of it is pure time and space. He claims that we are all doomed, that we can no longer contact the other planes as of several weeks ago, and that some great evil has befallen all of our people. He raves every afternoon when people take their meal. To anyone who will listen.
Well, some of it tracks.
Have a discussion.
Yeah.
with this raving man.
I would warn you against such things, but it seems that you must find knowledge for yourself. That I cannot stop you.
If we were to tell you what we think we know, they'd be much like the ravings of this madman, so why would you believe us if you don't believe him?
He nods and says, yes. I see your point.
You've mentioned that someone touched this object before?
Some have tried.
Disappeared? Did they leave behind a corpse or anything?
He gestures to the room and says, none have ever left a corpse.
What happens to them when they die?
They disappear.
Like in a white light, in a puff of smoke?
They are there one moment and then they are gone.
I'll turn to the death cleric and be like, when they died, did you get anything that
I mean, she's just like, the lady has nothing to add to your conclusions. You are all arch heretics against the will of the world.
Oh, shush. Our sister is simply just a brat.
I mean, when you say that, she's just like, High Priest, I will not stand the slander against another god here. I demand that these outsiders be removed from this hall immediately. And he says, you truly wish to invoke that right? They may, well, you know. He just kind of looks at you and then looks at him and says, very well. Do whatever you want. You're the king here.
All I want to know is if your lady tells you when people die, if you ask her. Because if the people that touched the stone didn't die, we have a theory.
I have nothing to share to help you with.
I'll turn to the master, or whatever his name is.
You haven't learned his name yet, but he is both the high priest and the king here.
Yeah. Well, like, I guess I'll like bow or like show some sort of respect, just like before I tell you. Well, let's introduce ourselves, so it's a little bit more formal, or a little bit more casual and less formal. Titles, whatever. I'm Daka. I'll like do like the gesture to the party if you'd like to introduce yourself.
You can call me Kelly.
I am Agram.
Henley.
I'm Crix the Wise, king of the clans, priest, speaker.
I mean, I'm Henley, king of the druids, speaker of the nature, and god among men.
That's curious. I didn't know that druids had kings. You revealed more about the druidic order in 10 words than I have been able to find in 10 years.
I'm just thinking in my head, I'm Agram, son of Grim. You know, first want to start.
King is a colloquial term. It's more, it's like a brevity thing.
As a follower of the God of Knowledge, I'd love to hear more. What is the non-brevity form of this? This is me getting you back for that, not
God damn it.
Crix the Wise. I mean, look, you're straight up lying to this guy.
I just felt Finley felt that. Look, we were like, I'm Kelly, I'm Agram, I'm Finley. He's like, I'm all right, tough guy.
Look,
like,
your answer should be all druids are kings.
Yeah.
He's got like PhD, MD, all this shit in front of his like flexing.
If druid breathe,
it's a king. It's a king, not a simp.
But Doug would just turn to Kelly and be like, whoever touched that thing didn't die. They're in the other time. That's my theory.
I find that very hard to believe. I just think that they're most likely pulled into whatever resource is fueling our friend on the other side.
So when you say that, Kelly, one of the crystals floating around the main crystal briefly facets and lets off a flash, and you see the eye of Xenos looking at you before it continues to rotate, and now it just looks like a floaty blue crystal.
Does everyone else see that?
No, only you see it. Only you have invoked him.
I give him a little.
What is that you're doing
cutscene,
there? Are you making some sort of ritual sign? I'm curious.
Oh, no. Xenox basically responded. If you call him, he will likely respond to you in turn.
Who is this you speak of?
Xenox is the guardian of time and space who makes sure that everything that is supposed to be happening happens.
I wish I remembered that I spent like 3 years chilling with that guy.
So, I mean, when you say that, this guy like starts sweating, and he turns toward the crystals and starts slowly walking towards them and says, Xenos, Guardian, I would speak with you. Creature of the crystal that has seen and knows so much. And he's slowly stepping in past markers, past the rings painted on the floors.
I'll walk up to him, put my hand on his shoulder, and I'll be like,
Speak with me, Xenos. I would know what you have to say.
You misunderstand. This is everything that you need to do and have been doing for eternity. Understand that any questions you have, you've already asked, and every question that you wish to receive an answer for, most likely, probably hasn't been told to you.
I don't understand.
That's the point.
But it is clear that you have some relationship with this artifact.
It's not an artifact, friend. It is far greater than anything that you could possibly fathom. Imagine millions of yourself simultaneously experiencing life, dying, and then living that life again, only slightly different the other time around. Yesterday, you had fish for breakfast. Tomorrow, in another timeline, you might have had bread. Those minute changes will affect everything.
So he turns and swishes his robes in the process and begins striding back to the rest of the priests and says, I call that we commission a study to spread the information we have learned here today and to learn as much as possible about this object and see if we can summon forth this guardian. And like everybody's like, yep, let's do it.
Do you have a pen and paper?
He turns towards you and says, we have pen and paper around here, but we prefer not to use it.
I will simply draw his visage for you.
Very well.
So I'll do it.
All right, you draw a giant time golem with the Flava Flav clock set into its chest.
Hell yeah.
Don't tell him we sent you. He doesn't like us.
I mean, he's watching you right now.
I just look at the thing. I'm like, he doesn't like us. He doesn't like us.
I don't like you either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you've just kicked off a theological debate, and now they're going to commission a study to investigate the object further and spread all the information you shared here today in the way that only science nerds that are also religious nerds could do. They're all just like, yep, okay, let's... You know, even the god of war is interested in this. If we could bring back those who have died, more battles could be fought. Justice could be properly executed upon the guilty who escaped.
And then another guy's like, well, actually, that's impossible because they're currently still fighting the same battles I've already fought.
All right, Banner.
Multiple times.
Well, actually...
Yeah, I mean, look, these 7 priests minus the goddess of death's priest,
who's now pouting in the corner, being like,
I wouldn't say pouting, but she's looking on this gathering passively, not participating. And it's clear that they don't anticipate that she'll be involved. Dave's like, that sounds like pouting to me. She got her cheeks puffed up and she's blushing a little bit. She went, "Heh, idiots."
Bucker Gaijins.
There it is. Yeah. Dave, he's more anime than me now.
Hell yeah.
Look, we crossed the threshold when he said I was more anime than you. I'm just like, that's factually incorrect.
Yeah. So I think we should go find this raving man.
Yeah. Before we do that, I would like to like stare into this thing, like as close as you can get to the crystal without touching it.
Okay,
just, like,
that's pretty close.
See if there's like, because
everyone stops talking and turns to look at you as if you're about to do something.
We've never freaking tried that. We've always just like, we're gonna change classes. Boop.
I would like to stink eye this priestess of death.
Okay.
I just, just gonna stare at her.
Just do it.
A couple of kisses. Under her breath, she's like, "No, fuck's the dwarf."
Daka, make an Arcana check.
Arcana check.
Arcana check.
Oh, that's bad.
Natural one.
Big oof.
Oh boy.
He zaps your nose cutely.
Here's what happens.
Space and time.
Zippity zappity, get the fuck backity.
You see Xenos appear in one of the large facets, and he waves his hand, and you watch as Agrim, who is exactly the same in all timelines, he's still just dwarf Agrim, different outfits but still the same, pulls forth like what are they called, the Indonesian wavy blades, crease?
Oh,
is that what they're called?
Yeah,
it looks like a super deadly larger version of like a evil ritual dagger, and he stabs you in the chest with it, and you can see, Daka, that it's the current you being stabbed with it, and as he pulls your hearts out and begins eating it, he's just like, "Now I, Agrim, gain the power of the god of death."
It's like, snap out of it.
Well, that would be the first time that because we had a thing before where we saw various timelines where we kill each other, right?
Correct.
It's not the first time this has happened.
Correct.
That's been like when Kelly's sword did the whole like mind slicey thing.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't really be surprising because if there's, say infinite timelines, or of course there's going to be ones where we're enemies. That's just how that works.
Agrim's like, yeah, there's no way I'm ever gonna kill any of you guys.
I mean, there is that. I mean, if he explains what he saw, there's like, I imagine there's a voice in the back of his head. Like, it's like when you walk into a room, he's got that like weird thing where it's like, I have a plan to kill every motherfucker in here.
So you're giving this cleric woman. What I mean, are you just staring at her and that's it? Or are you trying to intimidate her?
Because she's just talking mad shit on the ship, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even though she's being it's just I have a bone to pick with. I guess I guess we all do have a bone to pick with her god, but I do especially because she was talking mad shit. So, but I'm just deadpan.
She steps up. I mean, when you start staring at her, she steps up and to move in front of you. She's not particularly tall. So I'd say you're maybe just a little bit shorter than her.
I'm 4'6".
You've easily got, several hundred pounds on her. I'm not a strong individual.
I mean, yeah, even how much do I even fucking weigh as a dwarf? I don't remember. Oh, I mean, I'm 175, but for somebody who's 4'6", that's a pretty chunky boy.
So she's wearing
that's massive.
She's wearing all black robes with 5 red rings down the length of the arms. The holy symbol of the god of death is set out in front of her. And she has a belt from which there are several pouches. Mm-hmm. But that's it. And she just stops in front of you, claps her hand in front of her and says, "Do you require knowledge or counseling? Perhaps you would like to ask for your grievous and many troubles alleviated before your frankly horrific death."
I don't think I'm gonna consult our wonderful sister for therapy.
She is not your sister.
I mean, she kind of is, though.
Only a fool would interpret it as such. If anything, she's more like your mother.
I mean, as far as we're aware, she's our sister, right? I mean, that's how she's always been described as our sister.
Correct, but again, that's from a certain point of view. The people telling you that, or the people drawing that conclusion, are from a certain point of view.
Wasn't that the bone snake that told us that?
Correct.
I mean, yeah, but like we've been going off the bone snake thing for a while, so I mean that's pretty much, at least that's Agram's headcanon. Like that's, I mean, the bone snake hasn't tried to fuck us over either. So like as far as we know, it's all true.
Family.
I mean, you know,
stuff, though.
Yeah, you know, you gotta. Sometimes you gotta enslave some people, you know. But I mean,
the dog
comparatively,
if Daga hears that, like, he's gonna start. His next like long-term mission goal is to like find a second origin story for us.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely. I'm not trying to have a quiet conversation. I'll be as loud as whatever has. You know,
she's not trying to be quiet either.
Yeah.
So, do you require any services of the Reclaimer?
I think I'm good for now, but I'll let you know. I really don't trust this woman, even though she was being puppeted. It's one of those things.
I mean, she smiles down at you and says, you know, I have often heard your name repeated. You are accounted well by your victims.
Well, that's good, I guess. You know, people heard about my combat prowess, so he'll just like put his two thumbs in his, his little proud of that I am. Yeah, it's pretty good.
They'll be waiting for you to show their appreciation.
Well, maybe they should have fought better.
I'm laughing and snorting, but she is not. She just gestures to the rest of the group and says something to them quickly in Orcish before heading back around the crystal to her hall and re-entering it.
Oh, she's Orcish. I guess I didn't pay attention to that.
She's not Orcish, but she speaks
okay.
it.
Never mind. Okay, yeah.
Speaks the language. No, she's very, very human.
Okay. Yeah.
Superhuman. Like, you kill her, guts are gonna come out. Human guts. We're right at that halfway point. When we come back, I guess we're gonna go look for a mad sorcerer who's got crazy theories and probably is totally useless.
Does he have dick lasers?
Why is he mad though? We'll get to the bottom of it.
And does he fire crouch lasers?
No, only the guy from the god of, or from the,
what was that
Aardvark?
Aardvark.
Yeah, it's the Warlock of Madness, though, right? And all of his moves, it required him to do weird and crazy shit. His god was constantly, essentially making fun of him.
I'll still want to embarrass that guy in a Warlock fight, though.
Of course, why not? And Gleemo's good, and Aardvark is bad. I don't know why, but that's how we roll.